Hello, and welcome to the Small Business Sweet Spot. I'm your host, Barb Davids, and this show is dedicated to helping small business owners like you get more organic website traffic, and also to help create and distribute content and analyzing the numbers so that we can make better informed marketing decisions. It is action-oriented, direct, and conversational. And if you've been looking for SEO or content marketing help, please stick around to the very end where I share about the group coaching program, Small Business Sweet Spot. I'm so glad you're here. Let's go. Hello and welcome, Nancy, to the Sweet Spot. How are you today?
I'm doing very well. Very excited to be on your podcast. Thank you, Barb.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. So for the sweet listeners, I'm talking with you today, Nancy Jackson of Authentic and Aligned. And we're going to talk about your business, who you help, your sweet spot, because you are a member of my Sweet Spot program. And I just found your business interesting, and I wanted to talk about how you help other people and learn about you and your business. So thank you for taking the time today. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
So let's start with how you got into what you're doing today. You can start as far back as you'd like, or as far forward as you'd like. You can start wherever.
Yes, honestly, I feel as though my entire life has been about in customer service or patient service or in some sort of service to others. I always knew that I was going to run my own business at some point, and it kind of started off when I was 12, believe it or not. I was running my own babysitting, dog sitting, plant watering, watch your house while you're on vacation. I will do events and things for your children's birthday parties so that parents can relax. And I'm just, so I was branching out and doing about 5 to 10 different businesses. It just depended on the season. I would help if you're going to go into a dinner party. I would come there and be a hostess and serve food, make sure that the table still has things on it. So for me, that's always been, how can I help? How can I help? How can I make your life easier? How can I let you be focused on what's most important to you? So, that was fun for me. That was fun. My friends had other types of jobs where they had to go and work for a boss, maybe at a restaurant or fast food. A lot of them were fast food restaurants. So, and they just be like, oh, the hours. And I'm like, I make my own. So, but yeah, from there, I've basically just done customer service. And then I got into being a medical assistant. So working a lot with patients. And whoever I worked with was always very much more interested in talking to me about what was going on with them and asking me for advice, or they would talk about something and I helped them understand it better or just help them kind of be more at ease with the situation. And everybody always just like, I don't know why you're not, a counselor or a coach or something. And it's like, it has always been in the back of my mind, but life gets kind of in the way and you have to do things because this will pay the bills and this may not. And, so for me, it has always just been about being in service with others, to others, helping other people rise up, see themselves the way that they are meant to see themselves, not the kind of more negative, things or their flaws, being too focused on that. And so and I also went through job after job after job. I didn't like pretty much anywhere I worked for very long. So finally I said, 8 years ago, I was like, I'm just doing it. I don't have the big setup, but I've got the credentials and I'm going to open up shop. And so Authentic and Aligned was born. It was all about my soul mission, my sole purpose is to be in integrity and authentic and true to me and in alignment with my mission and my purpose here, which is, clearly to help others. So that's where that came from. And, I love what I do. I love my business and I love the people that I get to work with every day.
I love the name Authentic and Aligned. It is a very comforting business name, I feel like. So,
Yes. And, when I first thought of the name, it was not even kind of used as much. So I was actually, when I got on to do my website, and it's like authenticandaligned.com, and there it was. And I was just like, that was supposed to be there for me. This is the way things are. That's the divine timing. And I truly believe in those things. So, and it's again just as much been my sole purpose here as to make sure that I'm always doing that. I do believe we are the student and then we are the teachers.
Mhm. What was when you first started your business, what do you think was something that you maybe misjudged or didn't realize that you would need to know about or learn about in order to make it a success?
Boundaries.
Mm,
I kind of pretty much came into business with zero boundaries. It was just like, how can I help? How can I help? How can I help? And I was very much like, I didn't run the show. And it was, I did my part. I did my part just fine, but it was just like, oh, you want to do a different time? Oh, we can do that. And oh, you want to switch the day? That's fine. Last minute. Okay, that's fine. Because it was that overriding excitement of, oh my goodness, I'm doing what I love. For me, having like zip boundaries was that, I mean, I learned pretty fast. It didn't take too long to recognize that that was not going to work very well. And then I need to be the one that's running my business and not letting the business run me. So boundaries was the first. And I just didn't even think about them at all. Uh,
yeah.
so
Yeah. Did you did I'm gonna show my uneducated side. Did you know what boundaries were at that time? And the reason I'm asking is because I only learned what they were like maybe a year ago. So I had none because I didn't even know what they were at all.
yeah, a little bit. I mean, just through working with patients, especially with patients, is because I'm very empathetic and an empath, and I just really kind of can be a big sponge. And so I did recognize in the training of that I was going to have to be a different way with patients and not make sure I don't take on their stuff and maybe their fears or their stress or their worries coming in to see a doctor, and what is that doctor going to say, because I'd be the first point of contact. And so part of my thing was to kind of ease them into talking with the doctor instead of tell me all about it, and then I'm going to take it on and take on your fears and stuff. And so I did have to recognize then that I would go home so drained because I was taking on a lot of their insecurities and their fears about, hey, someone's checking me out, my body, that's a scary thing. So I did have an understanding of that, but I didn't at all equate it to business that I'd be running. So that was brand new to me, that would be of any kind of importance, in the
Yeah.
grand scheme. Yeah.
I think a lot of us too, even just with clients and even outside of like what you do, which is very personal, like we take on some of what our clients are feeling because we are trying to help them with whatever the service is. But you have a stronger connection just with what you do. How do you manage not taking that on, like not ingesting it, or how have you changed between when you first started to now so that you aren't maybe feeling as drained?
Yes, I had to make sure that I was doing a lot of my own energy work, a lot of just protecting myself, making sure that I'm just very grounded before any contact with anyone. I have a very non-negotiable start before I speak with someone or see someone, so that I start out very grounded. And so that was really important and key there. And the other part too is just simply, just seeing a person in their highest light is probably the way to move beyond, like, I'm not fixing anybody and that person's absolutely not broken, and there's there's nothing wrong with those people. And so it was just making sure that no matter what, I just see you in your highest potential, I see you in your highest light, and therefore I see you as everything is positive, right? It's all very positive. It's all, you're doing exactly what it is that you want to be doing. And then that helped them to not come in going, she's going to see all my flaws and my issues. And it's like, I don't see that in you. And I ask you to not see that in you. So then neither of us have to take on any, strange. It just becomes a better energy exchange
Mhm.
more than anything.
Okay. And so the people that you work with, what are some of the things that they might be feeling, and they might not have even known it at the time. Maybe you can articulate it for them as they came to you, that they came to you, and what let me rephrase that. What were they feeling that they realized they needed your services?
I think a lot is just a lack of trust, not trusting in themselves, not trusting the choices and decisions they're making, not trusting that they are able to be in a higher space for themselves. They come in just focused, tunnel vision on maybe a sense of lack or scarcity. They're not comfortable or certain about what it is that they're doing, maybe in their business or in their life, and are unfamiliar with being vulnerable with someone. And that can be very uncomfortable. And so again, it's that part of helping someone, putting them at ease immediately so that way they don't stay stuck in that headspace that they're in. Because my whole first thing is, let's talk about what it is that you're going to be doing, what is now and what are you working towards? And I just believe that when we're too focused on ourselves or the thing that we've got that keeps us in maybe paralysis, we're so afraid someone else is totally seeing that, and they're exposing themselves and they're like open target. And it's just so not the case. It's the exact opposite. It's just your vulnerability is your strength. It is, it's your empowerment. And so, working a lot of times with people with their inner child things that they have, they still haven't had resolved inner child wounding and still keep with stories that have become really stagnant for them. And again, it's that repeated pattern and just repeating things over and over and over and over again. And there's a lot of guilt and shame and blame going on. And you just need to, it's important for me to go, let's zero in on all the positive things, all the things that you can do, all the ways that you're of value, all the ways that you're of worth. And when we open up that really shifts.
And do you feel like there's a more common myth that we have about ourselves that we don't see?
I think it's between we're not enough, we'll never be enough. We see that a lot everywhere, social media, society. You've always gotta, you don't look just right. You're never the right something. So either it's not enough or we're just really here encapsulated in fear of being our true self because we've not spent enough time as our true selves. We've spent a lot of time confused and running after an identity that will hopefully help us feel a little bit better until we realize that doesn't fit. I need to put on another identity and then that one doesn't really fit. And we also don't let ourselves grow. Like we don't have permission to grow. If we're not giving ourselves permission to grow, we do kind of shrink. And we're all here to take up space. We've got all kinds of space to take up.
So I have a question. I think I know what it means for me, but I would love to hear from you what it means so that I can better understand it. Every time I hear take up space or I'm making space for somebody, I am so confused. Can you shed some light on that and explain that to me?
And we all spend a lot of time, wearing all these masks and cloaks. So we're really, really almost kind of caving in on ourselves. We are hiding. We are not exposing, especially our heart, We're keeping it really tucked in and we're getting as small as possible. Don't want to have anybody see that I'm not perfect. I don't want anybody to see that I don't look perfect. I'm not the perfect age. I'm not all of that. So we just really close ourselves in and we really, yeah, we just kind of, we're putting this cloak around ourselves. And and at the same time, inside we're craving being seen, being heard, being valued for what it is that we're here to bring and share with others. And so when we recognize taking up space is simply saying, I am open, I am free, my heart is open. We hold ourselves differently. We hold ourselves in our light. We hold ourselves in our strength and our confidence rather than that shriveled up space that we feel like I can't move too far this way. I can't move too far this way. I can only say so much. I can only do so much. I'm afraid someone's going to judge me. I'm afraid someone's going to say that I said the wrong thing, or I don't trust myself to speak my truth. And and I think we all have kind of shriveled up a little bit more in these last 4 years. So, it's all of us are needing to kind of remember we have infinite love in this world, which means we need all the space in the world to be able to share that. Energy needs space. Energy needs intention. Energy needs to move, and we have so much energy within us. We need to move.
Mhm.
So it's taking up space. It's just saying is that I'm here. I'm this strong being. Our auras are like 60 feet on either side of us. We need to be able to maneuver around and navigate our world as full, whole beings
Mhm.
and not, all shriveled up in ourselves.
Yeah. I can relate to that because I think with the work that I've done and going into the way that I was, I guess, raised or something, and I'm not quite sure exactly. I can't remember a lot of stuff, but what I'm learning is that I definitely don't speak up a lot as much as like in groups or even in family groups with people I know very well, or even in groups that I don't know. It doesn't matter what kind of group, but I tend not to speak up as much because I I don't know that I felt like I was afraid to speak up, but there was always something in the back of my head that just said, "Well, don't do that. I mean, why are you gonna do that?" It's so, like, that's it's interesting how you were talking about that, and then the other part I was gonna mention when you said take up space, like, there was a tangible feeling that I got the other day when I was exploring this, trying to figure out, like, what that really meant, and it was even just as simple as, like, I was doing yoga, and they have you do this big old stand thing where your legs are apart like you're doing jumping jacks, and you put your arms out, and even that is so uncomfortable taking up that physical space. It's like, "Ah."
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely, it is. Again, we're just so used to really closing ourselves into ourselves, and the taking up space is that I get to move. I get to have my arms wide open, my legs open. I get to twirl around. It's just the way that we were here as children. That whole, all this energy, all this boundless, infinite energy that we had. And unless someone said, we have to stop and go to bed, it's like, oh, I can just do this all day. What are you talking
Mhm,
about? But it's that, again, it's that giving ourselves permission to just be ourselves and express ourselves in the way that we really want to without worrying about the judgment of others, what someone going to say. And if we grew up with parents that they probably grew up based on their generation,
mhm,
kids aren't meant to be seen and heard, except maybe the viewing, at night or something. It was never this, it's like be quiet and, keep your
mhm.
voice down. And then, you got to school and everything is don't speak unless called on. You have to raise your hand before you can utter a single word. You got in trouble. And so, these are this is the way that we grew up. So we've spent far more time being quiet, most of us, than being able to just express ourselves authentically and without concern that someone's going to judge or say something or make us feel bad.
Hmm.
uh, which would be like the really worst thing that, you can do is just finally find your voice and then everyone's telling you, could you be quiet again?
Right. Right. Uh,
Yeah.
very interesting. Do people come to you more for the personal side of their lives or for business?
It's actually just a really good balance of both. And a lot of times it's those that are looking to go into business. And so I work a lot with helping them with their purpose, helping them stay motivated to go after what it is that they want, to be able to leave that job that they dislike, to be able to even just, work from full time into part time and then spend that part time on what is it that you want to be, doing here? What are your, what's calling to you? It's drawing you in. So I would say more often than not, it is a person that wants to be doing their own business and they're just wanting a little bit more focus on, can I actually share what I know that I'm here to do? And then I do work with a few that it is just about, they just want to be happier in their life. And it's not, business. Business doesn't take any part of it. They just want to maybe start on a spiritual journey and start awakening to that side of them. But I would say it's a pretty good balance
Okay.
between.
If somebody were thinking about exploring this topic with you, is there some feeling or something that they may be triggered in their head, or maybe a habit that they're doing that they're not aware of, that could be a sort of indicator that they could be like, "Oh, that just happened in my head. I need to talk to Nancy." Like, is there something that they maybe don't know about consciously that we could enlighten them right now and tell them, "Okay, if you're feeling this or thinking this, you might want to consider talking to me."
Absolutely. If you are here knowing that there is more, that there is just each day you just feeling very unfulfilled in your life. And you could be having a great life. It's just that what you're doing, especially your work, if you're feeling unfulfilled, it is truly that there is something more for you to be doing. And we often will tell ourselves, I'm sure at some point, I'll do that. I'll look into that. But then all of a sudden a year's gone by and another year's gone by. And what hasn't gone away is I don't feel very fulfilled. Doing everything for everybody else, putting yourself last is right there to me a big indicator that you are absolutely here to be doing something more and something bigger. You know that you are here to help others, but you're bringing it into a very small container. And that's going to just maybe be family or your neighbors or maybe community too, but it's a smaller container. And you just, it's like, I know there's something more in me. There's something that calls to me. I'm kept up at night. I have lots of thoughts and feelings and things going through me. And I have a true desire to, to share something with people of some capacity, right? We all have a unique medicine that we're bringing here. We all have certain skills, gifts, talents. So that's going to be very unique to the individual. But it's just that I need to be doing more so that I actually can feel fulfilled.
Okay. That was great. I think that was very helpful for anybody who's listening and they're thinking about that. So thank you for explaining that.
Absolutely.
And so I want to transition over to the sweet spot a little bit and ask you, because you're a member in there and you've been in there for a few months. And I'm so grateful that you came in and helping with digital marketing and just talking through things. My sweet spot to help business owners in the side of the somewhat more techie, more strategic side, less of the touchy-feely stuff. That is not as much me, but what drew you to the sweet spot? What was it about the marketing, or like what did you see that you thought you needed help with on the business side of things?
I am really very resistant to a lot of tech stuff, the digital stuff. And when I try to learn something and I look at something, whether it's, SEO or It's just the digital side of things, even just something as simple as, blogging. And I start to read up something, to me, all of a sudden, this information that I'm reading and everything just feels very heavy for me. I just, and my mind just absolutely wants to say it's gobbledygook and you're just never going to figure it out. And then I really truly believe that pretty quickly on. I mean, there are things that I can figure out over time, and I have to be in a very, very focused space to do that. But when for myself, I do a lot of channeling. I'm very kind of, well, creativity is huge for me. That's the biggest part of my business. And the first thing that I realize goes is my ability to tap into my creativity when I'm getting stressed out about digital things on the website. For me, it's like I don't understand these things, and I don't understand obviously the importance of them to a certain degree. And I guess part of me wants them to go away because I have to do them. So for me, it's like, there are people here, and just like I have my things, there's people here to make sure that those of us that are not into that stuff can feel good about doing the whole bit of the business. And especially with you, I just immediately felt so very comfortable. You just have a way of helping people feel very calm about everything. And so digital stuff for me is like not my calming factor. So the fact that you were able to move through that was huge for me. But it's just that I just look at it, it becomes this foreign language to me. I get stressed out, and then all of a sudden I'm not able to actually get done anything else that I wanted to do. And then I have a stubborn side that's like, you're gonna figure this out if you have to sit here all day long. And then that's that's a day for me. I'm very unfulfilled
Mhm.
because it's like I just spent all this time and I still don't get it. So I definitely in looking around, I really trust who I'm drawn to. I believe very much in there's certain people that we're meant to connect with. And so for me, that was you. That was the sweet spot. Plus, I love the name. So
Right? It's such a fun name because you have a sweet spot in your business, or you have a sweet spot for who you help, or you have that sweet spot, that one thing, that the the light moment, like that is a great spot to be in. So kind of like a groove almost.
yes,
But
absolutely,
yeah,
absolutely. It had a wonderful, wonderful energy to it. So
yeah.
yes,
And I love your energy. So I am so grateful that you're in the group and that we've had the chance to work together, and grateful for you sharing who you help and everything around that today. If somebody is interested in working with you and opening up their potential, how can they find you?
oh, absolutely. You can go to find me on Instagram. That's going to be at Authentic Aligned. My website, www.authenticandaligned.com. Those are the two spaces that you can find me pretty easily. And then, my newsletter I send out weekly. I like to stay in contact with everyone as much as possible. And yeah, so those are probably the two easiest ways to get with me.
All right. Well, thank you so much for your time today, Nancy. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Barb. This is wonderful. Thank you.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you. And I hope you enjoyed this episode with Nancy and learning about how to open up your potential. Stay tuned for more episodes on how to help your business thrive online. We'll see you in the next sweet spot. Cheers. Thank you for sticking around. I hope you enjoyed the episode. If you're looking for SEO and content marketing help, consider joining the Small Business Sweet Spot. It's a group coaching program where you can get answers to your questions about your business directly and clarity around the marketing strategies that you would like to implement in your business. You can find all kinds of information at compassdigitalstrategies.com. And if you like the episode, please tell a friend. Cheers.